To me.
Well, I just wanted to ask police officers about the thin blue line badge because I'm aware that a lot of you wear it, and it does have neo-Nazi origins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, how have you come to that?
A Google search, hundreds and hundreds of results of police protesting against being told not to wear it.
I understand. However, me personally, I've had not a directive not to wear this badge. Okay.
Right. Okay. You've not had a directive.
No, not me personally. No, I'm not standing for all police officers. However,
Right.
Me personally, and GMP. No.
So you've not been asked to remove it, is what you're saying?
Not by any of my supervisors. No.
Okay. Is there any message?
Is there a sort of point to the conversation? Because with the greatest respect, we're on an operation today.
Okay.
And it might not seem like it. I know we are just walking around at the minute.
Yes.
We're on an operation today.
Yes.
Obviously, I just don't want to waste time with yourself, really.
Oh, you don't want to waste time. Well, you could alleviate some of the concerns I have that the police have been compromised by neo-Nazism. Is that a waste of time?
Well, I'm not neo-Nazi. If that makes you any.
I don't. I don't believe you for a second, mate. Sorry.
The following audit took place between 3rd of February 2024 and 6th of April 2024. I spoke with roughly 20 to 30 police officers about their justification for wearing the thin blue line badge, a badge that was created in the United States by the Blue Lives Matter organization, who have ties to white nationalism and neo-Nazism. This video was created as a means to understand why the police wear such a badge, and for this reason, when filming, I directed the camera away from officers' faces in order to not rile them up or give them the indication that I was looking for an emotional reaction. However, a few officers still complained about my intentions of trying to get a rise out of them, but then proceeded to walk directly into the view of my camera. Another tactic I utilised to help getting the police to let their guards down was that I claimed to be a film student. This was so officers would deem me less of a threat and to hopefully get them to give a less defensive answer. If there are any officers watching that deem this to be a duplicitous action, then may I remind them that they swore an oath to protect the public with impartiality and fairness. Two things that become obsolete once you and your colleagues openly wear Nazi badges whilst on duty. I must stress that this video is not a political statement, but rather a documentation to raise public awareness that our police have largely been wearing a badge with far-right extremist origins, something which is against their uniform code that forbids any political statement being worn, and more worryingly, a badge that has ties to the Nazi movement, which should be a deep concern for any Briton, whichever side of the political spectrum you may reside.
So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Warren, yes. Rabbi Warren Elf.
Yep.
So strictly speaking, Rabbi Warren Elf, MBE. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Faith Network for Manchester.
Yes.
I'm also a Reform rabbi, and I work with 3 Reform synagogues on a freelance and very part-time basis, 2 outside Manchester and 1 in Manchester. And yes, been involved in the Jewish community for many years. Been a rabbi for nearly 30 years. And for a lot of that time, I've also been involved in interfaith work, community relations and community cohesion, and liaising with some of the authorities and organisations that we want to or have to from time to time.
Do you recognise this badge?
I think I've seen that before, yes, but I can't remember which particular group are using it.
Right, so basically, let me explain what this badge is. It's called the Thin Blue Line Badge. Of
over the past 3 or 4 years, of about the 100 officers that have shown up to my door in relation to the racial abuse that I've been receiving, I'd say about half, or just more than half, have had this badge sewn into their police vests or their police uniforms. So basically this badge is the British version of the thin blue line badge that is worn in America.
Right.
So you can see the resemblance, and it is essentially a representation of the thin blue line movement, which was created by the Blue Lives Matter group, and this is the first paragraph of their Wikipedia page. And as you can see, very clearly it says there, it was created by the white nationalist, neo-Nazi, alt-right movements in the US. It's right there. So
I'd have thought that any officers wearing a badge like that should be reprimanded and even action taken against them.
I do a lot of research as to what the police are allowed. I thoroughly research their uniform code. They are not supposed to wear any political badge or symbol whatsoever on their uniform. And this is specifically why. I didn't realize that it had neo-Nazi connotations or origins until very, very recently. What they claim is that the badge is in honor of their fallen officers, the Thin Blue Line movement, and it's supposed to symbolize the order between chaos and it represents the police's line between order and chaos, and the thin blue line is what is holding the two together. I spent a lot of time at uni, designing logos, studying symbolism, and this, that, and the other, and analyzing colors and shapes and whatever. So the way that I've analyzed this badge is, so if you look at it, it is black and white, obviously, and there's the Union Jack, and there's just a thin blue line running through it. If I was asked to design a badge in uni that represented the police's kind of presence within order and chaos, and paying tribute to the fallen police, if I presented this as my final result, I wouldn't even pass the course, because the way that it looks is they've taken out all of the color from the Union Jack. That black and white usually represents death. I think that's fair to say. If anybody saw that, it looks grim. It looks like the life has been taken out of it. And then there's the thin blue line running across it. If they wanted to create a divide, it should have been done vertically, because if you create a line that's horizontal, that essentially is it's like a cutting, it's like a slicing. So I read this as the death of Britain, or death to Britain. And considering that this movement was created by the neo-Nazi movement that originated in the US, this would be a perfect symbol of what their intentions are. I do believe that it's intentional, that the police wear a badge like this. And if it's not intentional, then that looks even worse, because it's like you had enough time to stitch this flag onto your police vest, but you didn't have time to research what it means, where it came from. You just did it because all your friends were doing it, which is terrible.
I'd have thought if someone's stitching it on, they're knowing what it represents and they're doing it deliberately. I'd have thought also that anyone who stitches it on their uniform would be reprimanded, because I think any senior officer, unless they're sympathetic to the cause, which is also even more concerning, would reprimand them and say, you can't wear that in your uniform, it's not appropriate.
What is it that you want to film? You're filming the interaction between me and you.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. But obviously, you know, I'm not going to start asking me political stuff, are you?
No. This isn't political. I just wanted your opinion. What you? So what does it mean to you and stuff like that?
What does what mean to me?
So the thin blue line badge.
The thin blue line. Well, that just represents the job that I do, isn't it? Obviously,
yes.
That's what they call it, like the thin blue line, don't they?
Yeah.
So we're sort of that thin blue line between. Some people say between good and evil, don't they? That sort of thing. You know, just trying to protect people, isn't it?
That one has like is it a poppy? Well, you've got a few ones.
Sorry, that one. Yeah, that one has a poppy on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got another one on there as well. Does that have your?
Yeah, that's just got my name on it and another one with
okay.
line on it. Yeah.
Why does it have a poppy on the front?
Why does it have a poppy on? I just got that. It's just because obviously that's one of the things that we recognise in the remembrance back in November, the end of the First, Second World Wars.
Right. Yeah. So is there some connection between the poppy and the
absolutely
police?
No connection between the poppy and the police.
Oh, okay.
That's just my personal thing that I've got that.
Okay.
No connection or anything like that.
Because you've got more than one there. They both say different things. There's the thin blue line with the poppy.
Yeah, the thin blue line, well that represents the police force itself, doesn't it? So you see the ambulance service, they'll have a green one, and you have the fire service, they'll have a red one.
Yeah.
And that just represents, obviously, what they're doing, doesn't it?
So there's variations of it. Do you have is there like a special shop that sells them or something?
I don't know whether there's a special shop. Obviously nowadays with everything you can get them all on the internet.
How did you get yours
online? It's not a police issue, just I got mine online.
Oh, okay.
Because there's like shops where you can buy sort of equipment like that, security, police stuff and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. So is that like a charity that sells them, or is it just a business?
Well, not as I'm aware of them anyway.
Because some of the officers says it's a charity, so I get a bit.
I mean, some of it is with the poppy stuff itself. Some of it's charity, isn't it?
Yeah. All right then. Is there anything else you'd like to say about it?
No, nothing at all.
Yeah.
At all. Okay.
Okay. Is it a symbol of your pride then for the job?
A symbol. Well, there is that. I mean, we're proud of the job we do, and obviously the fact that we get to sort of help to protect, members of the public and stuff. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. There's also, I mean, some of them said it was to remember the fallen officers on the line of duty.
Yeah, there is that.
So it's a bit of both.
Yeah, there's a bit of both of that. Yeah, it's a symbol of that with any of our colleagues pass away and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that it symbolises to you?
Not as I'm aware of. No, you pretty much touched the two things there.
Okay. All right then. Okay. Thank you very much.
Look after yourself, my friend. Have a good day.
Thank you. Can I just step back so I get you? Thank you.
No problem.
See ya.
Aside from speaking with Rabbi Warren Elf, I reached out to charity organisations within the UK to hopefully speak to someone with a past history in the neo-Nazi movement, but for whatever reason was unsuccessful. I was given the time, however, by Patrick Riccards of Life After Hate, an organisation that helps rehabilitate those with extremist ideologies within the United States. He was very helpful in helping me to understand what could potentially be at the root of such views as those with far-right beliefs within law enforcement.
I will often say, at least here in the United States, I don't believe we've become more hateful as a society, but we certainly have become more tolerant in having it expressed in public. There's no longer a desire to keep it private. There's no longer any sorts of shame that comes with it. We are fine with it, with being very public about it now. I think we've definitely allowed the far right to become more mainstream. And as I said, we've seen in the United States where it's so cross-connected to what goes on in politics. But there is no question that, and again, because we see this ideology connecting itself to politics, we are very quick. We have people that run to the poles of politics, and that you have the far left and you have the far right. There is very little middle ground. There is very little desire to find a middle ground. Where there is any sort of moderation or at least a tolerance for the views of others.
I'm just going. I'm just going, bro.
Excuse me. Hi. I'm currently putting together a student film. Would you mind being filmed?
I don't want to be filmed, I'm sorry.
Could I just quickly ask you about your badge there, the thin blue line? So basically, I've been doing some research. Are you aware of the origins of it and the connotations?
He's trying to refer to what it is in other countries, as in America. Because I know in America it has very different connotations to what it has in this country.
Right. But that shouldn't matter.
No, it shouldn't matter, but my views of it in this country and why it is a thing in this country are much different to why some people have appropriated it in places like America.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the origins of the Nazis, they took a swastika and changed it to mean something else. But, and that's the same
So does that mean that people who the original versions of the swastika to do with Buddhism and other things like that, does that mean they can't use it anymore?
Well, I don't think it means what you think it means.
Okay, that's fine. What do you think it means?
Right, so I have a degree in...
I will have to stop you right there though, but I do want to have this conversation with you, but someone has just reported something to me at Burger King. So you feel free to wait here by my car and I'll come back and I'll speak to you about this.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, it's up to you.
Fine.
After Officer Barker left to deal with the incident, I decided to take his offer up and wait half an hour for him beside his squad car. During this time, I thought I'd promote this food stall, Simply Delicious, that I bought a mixed kebab from. I would highly recommend them, as they make the kebab using fresh ingredients right in front of you.
No, I just wanted to give you my theory on it, because I don't think it means what you think it means.
I don't want to be interviewed.
Ah, that's very bad. Oh, God. Jesus. Really bad.
After the police wandered off again, they next seemingly targeted a group of several black men who seemed to be committing the offence of standing around. I thought that I'd use this opportunity to quiz one of the officers about his colleague's use of the thin blue line badge.
It's just, again, it's a college film, so I'm just sort of putting together a little sort of theory piece on you know, the thin blue line badge being worn by police officers and what have you. I've spoken to a few people, not just police. I've spoken to a rabbi about it, and I've gotten his feelings about it and such. So I just wanted a holistic, you know, opinion piece.
What is it you're trying to say? You're trying to say cops are racist?
No, nothing like that. I just want everybody's opinion, everybody's side. So, you know,
I think you might struggle. Most police officers, when we're on duty, we don't have personal opinions or anything like that. I don't stand on any sort of political spectrum when I'm on duty. So
right, but wearing that badge would I mean, that is a political symbol, isn't it? I mean, if it means to you that you know, you're memorising,
doesn't mean anything to me, sir. Anything to me, hence why I'm not wearing it, because I hold no political opinion.
Oh, okay, but your colleagues, I mean, one of them over there, I asked him about it.
Maybe you should go talk to them then.
He refused to speak to me.
That can be the way. Sometimes we don't have to engage.
No, that's true. But it does kind of, it would help ease my concerns and a lot of other people's that, you know, Neo Nazism has infiltrated the UK police.
How do you know it's in? Have you got family members who are police officers?
I've spoken to a lot of police officers.
Have you worked in the police?
I'd really rather not.
So you'd rather talk about the issue than go around and try and fix it?
Well, that's why I'm speaking to you. I mean, I could obviously say, yes, this is what it is, but I'd rather speak to people and understand their side of view, because becoming a police officer is a whole different sort of kettle of fish. That I'm not a police officer. I'm trying to become a filmmaker. So
okay, well, yeah. Good luck in your endeavour.
Oh, thank you. Good luck in being a police officer.
Here in the United States, remember, our response to Black Lives Matter was Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, that was definitely a concern. I can tell you, you know, we we work with law enforcement. We've done training courses for law enforcement so that they understand violent far-right extremism and how it intersects with their work and what it is they need to do to better understand those that they're going to engage with. And, you do run, one of the very real facts now is you do see individuals that, I would dub as white nationalists or even neo-Nazis and those sorts of things, is they are driven with an interest in joining law enforcement or in joining the military.
Yeah.
So I think it's, you have that natural intersection with those who may hold some harmful ideologies, but may also seek to involve themselves in positions of authority because they believe that will put them in a place of power where they can enact a world that more closely resembles what they're hoping for. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. I don't think the majority of law enforcement officers are like that. I think quite the opposite. But all you need is one bad actor. And that can ruin not just how you're dealing with the communities, but completely destroys whatever trust and faith your communities have in law enforcement.
Yeah, I was a member of the Bury Police Independent Advisory Group. There were several of us from different faiths who were on it for.
Okay. How long ago was this?
I must have come off that group about 7-8 years ago, but it'd been on for about 12 years. A lot of good work had been done because the independent advisory groups were set up in the wake of the Stephen Lawrence aftermath, and there was a genuine concern that things were addressed, that any racism, any prejudice, any interactions with any minority groups were put forward. Now, over the time I was involved in that advisory group, I would say that in the early years there was certainly a strong desire to, I suppose, almost get rid of the bad ones, or to actually correct police practices that were out of order. Towards the end of my time there, as certain personnel changed, I got the impression that it was feeling a bit more like a tick box exercise. And I decided I didn't want to be part of that anymore, and I just sort of relinquished and let others take over. So,
was this about 2016 that this happened, that you left?
I left in about 2016, yeah.
Yeah, because it's funny, because I think that these problems with the police stem from around 2016, and it was, I think, partially to do with the cuts by the Conservative government. They cut about...
I think the cuts over the 6 years before that and 7 years before that, and subsequently, I mean, there was a promise to have 20,000 police on the third. But how can you increase and vet the number of police that you're taking in adequately? And I think that's been a major problem. I think the pressure on some of the decent police that I knew was unbearable at times. And I don't have experience in terms of the type of police that they've taken on. Any officers through interfaith work I've dealt with, or through the Jewish community, have been decent. But the number I've dealt with tend to be some of the more senior officers, or if it's the local police and community support officers, they've been decent, but it's a fraction of the numbers out there.
The following transpired inside the city centre police inquiry building. I very politely asked this officer if he had time to discuss the thin blue line badge, before he abruptly told me to sit down and to mind my own business. I asked why he was speaking to me like this before his colleague, a plainclothes officer, attempted to de-escalate the situation his fellow officer had inflamed.
This is now a situation that you started.
No, you started it by coming up to me.
What?
Let's just not bother.
Let's not bother what?
Talking about it.
Are you a police officer?
I am.
Yes. So you saw the interaction.
I've not got no badge.
Right. But how do you feel about
no one wants to talk to you.
Nobody wants to talk to me. I want to talk to you though, because that's very, very bizarre that you're wearing a Neo Nazi badge in a police station as well. You told me you're not interested.
Can I have his collar number? Can I have your collar number, mate?
What do you need a collar number for?
I'd like to make a report regarding...
wearing a thin blue light badge?
Yes.
What's
No, I'm making a report that you're wearing a Neo Nazi badge.
Right.
And that you just told me to shut up about my own business.
I didn't tell you to show up, I told you to mind your own business.
Oh, that's a lot nicer. Can I have your collar number now?
17273, I'm sure you're going to have to record it now twice.
I'm recording now. Actually, I'm being more transparent than you are, Mr. Neo Nazi officer. Eventually, I received the following response from the press office. Thanks for your email. As this is sent from a personal email address, we will need to see your journalist ID card before progressing anything. Also, what specifically will the interview be looking at? Kind regards, Emma Nocton, 73835 Media Officer. I replied, Hello, this is a personal project. I do not require a journalist ID for a personal film project. However, I imagine that you will refuse an interview going forward on these unreasonable grounds. So I will ask a question and you can give a statement on behalf of Greater Manchester Police for me to use in my project. Why are an inordinate amount of Greater Manchester Police officers wearing a thin blue line badge when it was created by the neo-Nazi Blue Lives Matter movement in the United States, and what message do you think that it sends to the families and loved ones of the 6 million Jewish people exterminated in World War II by GMP officers wearing that badge, knowing its origins? That is all I wish to ask. As I said, I do not wish to catch out any member of GMP. I am being as transparent as possible so that you, GMP, can do the same and have a fair opportunity to explain yourselves. However, if you do not answer the question, I will take that as admittance that GMP has been radicalized by the neo-Nazi movement. If GMP aren't willing to be transparent about such a sensitive issue, which is the requisite of any UK police officer, then it is safe to assume that UK police have become radicalized. As of 6th of February 2024, to the date of this video's upload, I have received no official statement from Greater Manchester Police's press office.
On the internet, mate, to suit a multitude of different things, can't we?
Well, it's serious because it is...
I don't think it's serious, mate. I think we've got more serious things that we could probably deal with.
There's... Actually, so you don't think the extermination of 6 million Jewish people
that's not been a part of our conversation so far, has it?
500,000.
Please don't try and twist
just come into this conversation.
We were talking about neo-Nazism.
We weren't. We were talking about a flag.
Yeah, and I said it was connected to neo-Nazism.
Yeah, and I then said it wasn't.
So we.
And then you said that it's not important, and I said that it represents the extinction of the 6 million Jewish people.
Yeah, after I'd said it's not important. Please don't try and twist what I'm saying, mate. I'm having a pleasant conversation.
I'm not.
You're trying to twist what I'm saying.
I'm not.
Anyway,
when I said neo-Nazis, that's what they believe in.
We do have other things to do, mate. I'll leave you with a leaflet. That's what we're doing today. Have a read of that, and we'll leave you to it, pal.
Well, I really hope that you look more into Holocaust victims, because you clearly don't care about that. This is more important than that, though, as opposed to the 6 million Jewish people.
Counter-terrorism, mate, is quite important.
Don't you think the neo-Nazis are a terrorist movement and you're wearing their badge? You imbecile.
I think, you raise some really important points, and I think it's one of those that we do. When you look at modern day neo-Nazism, they obviously have a great appreciation for what Hitler and the Third Reich did. They try to model a lot of it. They try to use the same propaganda, the same recruitment, and those sorts of things. But also, I think in their own heads, justify that what they're doing is completely different. And I think when you talk about those who are looking to join the police force and those sorts of things, it's an interesting dichotomy, because you see. There's no doubt that those people who hold a hateful ideology want to assume positions of power and are often drawn to the police department. But what you also see often is people who are easily manipulated, people who are looking for a sense of belonging and feel that they don't fit into society. They are prime recruits for extremist movements. And then these extremist movements try to get their members placed in organizations like the police. So you have this perpetual cycle that's always moving. You know, I can tell you, at least in the United States, I don't know if the same is true in Great Britain, but, you know, one of the most prized recruits for these extremist movements tend to be military personnel. It tends to be veterans who have recently been discharged, because, you know, there you've got individuals who have very proudly served their country. You know, here in the United States, there are a battery of exams and things one has to get through, including how well they did in school, obviously physical fitness and those sorts of things in order to serve their country. But when they come back, you know, when they come back, particularly now that they've all come back from Afghanistan, they become prime targets for recruitment, because they come back to a country that they feel doesn't understand them. They come back to a country they've been fighting and sacrificing for, that does not welcome them back the way they sometimes feel they deserve. And these extremist groups know that. And they will target these individuals for those very reasons, and realize that if you're former military personnel, you come with a skill set that the average recruit does not have in terms of your military training. And, you know, really prey on these individuals, do a great disservice to their service to our country and the things that they've fought for, because they're looking to serve their own purposes. These organizations don't care who they use and how they use them.
I think anyone that's wearing something that's not been approved is giving out a really bad message, and they deserve reprimand at least. I think anyone who is putting on a political badge onto their police uniform is out of order. And I think if it is a neo-Nazi badge or message that's being conveyed, I think it is completely out of order, and they run the risk of being drummed out of the force, to my mind. Yeah, I'm very aware that the equality and diversity training, there's constantly even a clamour, so certainly a call for the training for police officers to be increased, so that they are more aware and they respond positively. And I think anyone that's reacts badly to that, responds badly or negatively to that training, is normally dealt with, or at least should be dealt with. I suppose it depends on the senior officers, but as you're suggesting, but my experience is they've not been, they are aware of the weaknesses and are trying to address it, I hope.
Does the matter as to why you're here today?
Yes,
to speak to PC Evans.
To speak to PC Evans to find out what happened with those cases, why he was at charge, what he was speaking to about for 45 minutes outside my home the day before he's arrested, and what possible action you're going to be taking against him, who has also been stalking and harassing me.
Right. This has been going on for 3 years.
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Yes.
You're aware and no longer lives next door to you?
Yes, and his mother has been stalking me and harassing me.
That has come as a result of the police action we've been doing for the last few years.
No, you've not been doing much. You've not done anything for me for the past 3.5 years. This happened, the reason that he was arrested, the reason... No, I don't need to let you talk.
I'm going to go back
oh, diddums. I'll let you talk. Go on, mate. No. Yeah, you're pathetic. Go on, do the walk of shame. Walk of shame. This is a sergeant. This is a public servant who's walking away from me. I've been harassed for 3.5 years, and they've done nothing for me. That's Sergeant Gibb. You're pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. It's okay.
Morning.
Hello, Sergeant Gibb. I'm really good. I wanted to ask you about your badge.
About my badge?
Yes.
Badge. Oh, the thin blue line one?
Yes. I'll step back so I have you in full frame talking about it. So, Sergeant Gibb, it's quite a coincidence we're meeting here because you're usually at West Didsbury. But it would explain why you haven't shown up when I've been in trouble with...
Right, okay. I'm only here today.
You're only here today?
Yeah.
Is that for the environmental thing?
It's for protest in town, but it's not much going on with it at the moment. So.
Yeah. So about your thin blue line badge, I'm aware that it has neo-Nazi origins. Would you like to comment on that?
Not this one, mate.
Not that one?
No, this is in relation to a charity known as Care of Police Survivors. It started a long time before that movement.
Is that the one with the black and white Union Jack with the thin blue line? Yeah, that's a neo-Nazi badge.
I think that's opinion.
It is fact. Opinions, really? We're going to do that again? I mean, if you look it up, there's hundreds of articles about it, and I've asked quite a few officers, and they've all given me different opinions as to what the badge means. And considering the fact that it even has some relation to neo-Nazism, is quite frightening. Do you not care about that at all? I would remove it though. No, you don't want to. But why? Why?
Well, it's in relation to the Care of Police Survivors, a charity organisation, politically marketable.
Right.
It's also kind of that
I can tell you what I think it means.
I'm getting the impression of what you think it means.
Yeah, well, I'll give you my theory. So whoever's designed it has taken the Union Jack, taken out all the colours, and it's left black and white. So when you take out the colours of something, that reflects death or the lack of life. Then you've got a line running through it horizontally, which usually signifies a slicing movement or a cutting or a killing scroll. So essentially it could be seen as a flag that represents death to Britain. That's my opinion. Again, it's a very, very strong opinion, and it's a very scary thing to see that on most police officers.
Most people think, with regards to the blue line, it's that the thin blue line represents the police itself, which provides order and chaos and weird.
But you're not the divide that. But you're not the divide that separates us between order and chaos. In fact, I would say that most often the police are the trigger for the chaos. If you think about all the major riots and incidents that have happened recently, it's because of been due to police corruption and misconduct and otherwise. Huh? George Floyd?
America.
Well, it seeped off into here, didn't it?
It's a very different policing body over there, isn't there?
Well, there's quite a lot of.
We like to draw comparisons to the Americans, don't we?
But it is an American badge as well.
It's a British badge.
I can guarantee you that it has its origins in America.
All the money for it goes to charity, helps family and relations from those officers who've been killed in the line of duty.
How many officers were killed in the line of duty in the past year?
In the last year? Don't know.
One. And you're desecrating the graves of about 35 million people who died in World War II just to pay tribute to one officer. You don't have any comment on that? I can't really say anything to that because it's like I'm trying to get you to feel something. Okay, I'll tell you what. So this is all gonna be like in my next theory video about the thin blue line badge. I have had an interview with a rabbi. I've had an interview with pretty much everybody about that badge and gotten everybody's feelings and takes on it. So there will be probably Jewish people seeing this documentary, and right now you're wearing a badge that represents the killing of 6 million or the extermination of 6 million Jewish people. Is there anything you want to say to those people?
I've told you the reason I'm wearing it and what my understanding of its significance is. it might differ to yours, but that's our right as individuals to have different opinions, isn't it?
If there ever was a single frame of how below the equator the standard for British police has fallen, this is it. Look into this sergeant's eyes as he musters every shred of compassion or interest he has in the subject matter. We were not discussing an assault, nor a murder. We were discussing the actual Holocaust, and this was the level of compassion that he could muster up. If you are not terrified by this, then ask yourself, if you were in danger and this person was tasked with your safety, would you feel safe for this individual to come to your aid, effectively considering this is his reaction to hearing he has been wearing a badge that honours the deaths of millions of innocent people?
So you agree with the killing of 6 million Jewish people in the Holocaust? Of course not.
Well, what I'm saying is that my badge doesn't represent that. You're saying it does, but that is almost by the by, isn't it? That's your opinion.
Again, it's not opinion, it's fact. It's when you, if you watch my content. Okay, alright, I'll show you some evidence. Since you're here, and since it's so hard to find officers that will willingly talk about this stuff, but I'll give you some evidence here. So, okay, so this is the badge you're wearing now. This is a thin blue line British badge. This is the American badge. They look identical, I think you'll agree. And they were created with this in mind, which is a Blue Lives Matter badge. This was
the thin blue line badge.
That's the Blue Lives Matter badge. That's the American the Blue Lives Matter badge in the US.
No, that was in existence for a long time ago.
And as you can see, there's a first.
That was there before Blue Lives Matter was an argument.
I don't think it was. As you can see here, this is the thin blue line. This is the Wikipedia page. The first paragraph is a term that typically refers to Blue Lives Matter, and it has become emblematic of white nationalist, neo-Nazi, and alt-right movements in the US. Particularly displayed by attendees of the Unite the Right rally in 2017. Is that not evidence enough for you? I mean, it's also, well, there's another chap wearing one. Hello.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that.
Well, I will be working on this video. You'll probably be in it if you want my card. Cheers. Well, I hope you change your mind, Sergeant Gibb.
I'm always happy to listen to people differing opinions. There's no harm in that, is there, in itself?
Well, it's quite a bold opinion, but anyways, thanks for your time. Cheers. See ya.